It is 11 o'clock on this Reaction Friday. We are live. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front. Landrum, Molly, Conrad, I'm Pat, with you until 2 o'clock. We'll give you an update on what we know from the transfer portal situation, as it's a very fluid situation. Not really sure how many Alabama names you'll see today, because keep in mind they have to go through the process of turning in paperwork. And heck, it's a Friday. It's right after a holiday. Not really sure if the compliance director is working remotely or what the deal is. Now, there's been one player, Richard Young, has put his name in. He joined Rock Montgomery and Cameron Howard, who had already announced that they were going to go on the transfer portal. So as of right now, only 3. And keep in mind, Josh Ford, a tight end from Oklahoma State, is coming to Tuscaloosa. So we'll give you an update on what's happening on the Auburn side momentarily.
Well, flu season is here, so make your home healthier with Trane's Clean Effects Home Air Cleaner. It removes up to 99.9% of airborne particles, including those that cause virus, is 100 times more effective than standard air filters and 8 times more effective than HEPA room filters. So go and find a dealer near you at Trane.com.
So we're just talking about the Auburn situation a few moments ago, where it seems that their whole entire wide receiver room is going to be cleaned out.
Gone.
Everybody's gone. And then last night you had tight end Preston Howard. He entered the transfer portal. Also this morning, Auburn defensive lineman James Ash, he has entered his name in the transfer portal. Also, Auburn safety Tay Seymour has entered the transfer portal. I will be the first person to admit I am not familiar with either one.
I've heard their names before, but not familiar with. No, I don't think that's sound the alarms for Auburn.
I will give you 2 names that our friends down at Auburn Undercover are saying you need to keep very close tabs on if you're looking for guys to come out of the portal potentially to Auburn, and that's Colorado edge rusher Alexander McPherson. Also, Arkansas State defensive lineman Cody Sigler. He announced on social media that Auburn has offered him, and you were doing some look during a commercial break on Sigler from the Sun Belt Conference.
Yeah, he's a guy out of New Hope, Alabama originally, but 6'3", 300 pounds, 17 tackles, had 5 sacks, a bunch of tackles for loss. He was a disruptor, second team all Sun Belt, but certainly with the defensive line guys that you've lost. Apparently, he's got a great story, too, and I'm going to do more research on this kid. But wherever he lands, I think it's a great story and a product from the state of Alabama. And maybe one of these cases where the transfer portal, this is a good thing for a guy like Cody Sigler.
So I saw last night, this was in the middle of the Ole Miss game, there was Mizzou football, and this is the world we live in now, where we're getting graphics of players being re-signed.
Yeah.
So both of the running backs, Hardy and Roberts, have been re-signed for Mizzou, which is big for them. Their backup quarterback that played for Pribula,
Zollers.
Yeah, he re-signed. And I just saw a story coming out of St. Louis. They say that they believe that they are going to be one of the teams that are going to battle for DJ Lagway. I think that would be a really good spot for DJ Lagway.
Missouri?
Especially when you've got 2 running backs.
Yep.
Kind of take a little bit of the pressure off of him.
That's going to cost a lot, though.
Probably, but if you're Eli Drinkwitz.
I mean, you gotta do something.
I mean, you had Tennessee and Mizzou both. They went the entire season, and they did not beat anybody with a winning record.
Neither did Tennessee.
That's what it said. Tennessee. Tennessee and Mizzou.
Yeah.
You know what's well, it's totally not. It's kind of related, but I was thinking about it the other day. With Ahmad Hardy at Missouri, Eli Drinkwitz there. Ahmad Hardy comes from Louisiana Monroe. Now Chip Lindsey comes in as offensive coordinator. You now have 3 former Spain Park High School coaches that will have coached Ahmad Hardy.
That's pretty cool.
Differently, and not all.
Yeah. No, that's very cool. And did you see where Bo Pribula is probably going? Looks like either James Franklin and Virginia Tech or Brent Key and Georgia Tech.
Yeah, because they just lost their, what was it, Philo that went to Florida?
Yeah, and then Haynes King is, I assume he's done. He's been around for
He
a
is.
minute. Yeah.
He is done.
He's about to open up all those dealerships.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I think that'd be a great spot for him at either of those places.
What if Haynes is any kind of Sonny?
I don't know. You know, I also saw a name that Alabama fans, and I know Conrad probably would remember. You remember King Mack?
Yeah, he's in the portal for what, the fourth time?
Where is King Mac?
So King
Back in
Mac.
the portal?
So he was at Penn State.
Yeah.
He left Penn State. He goes to Alabama.
Then he missed his buddies.
and then he left Alabama. Remember he was during the season. During the season,
he's zooming with his buddies before games.
Yeah,
at
before
Penn
the
State.
games. Yeah.
While he's out of Alabama.
So he goes to Penn State, and now he's back in the portal.
Fourth time's the charm, right?
Yeah.
That's what I always say.
What if he follows James Franklin to Tech?
Maybe he'll see the field there. That'd be good for him.
Maybe he
And-
doesn't want to see the field.
Maybe not.
Maybe he just enjoys being a career sideline guy that gets paid a lot of
I was
NIL.
about to say he's really good at being a backup safety.
Hey, wouldn't be the worst.
And this will really hit home close to Molly, what I'm about to tell you. But I just saw a very touching
They shutting it down.
Instagram post.
They're shutting it down.
What?
The Nebraska program.
Are
Just
they?
The program, yeah.
No, this is someone that used to play for Nebraska.
Oh,
Now I think they're still going to play football next year.
Dang
They're
it.
getting the Notre Dame quarterback. Remember?
Mhm.
That's their new
That's right.
quarterback.
I think
Munchie,
I think
Minchie,
Rule
what-
needs
what's
to
his
keep
name?
his hat turned backwards.
No, I don't think he does.
What's he doing?
One of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play at Nebraska, Jeff Sims, has announced he is declaring himself for the NFL draft.
Well, good for him. I don't think
Wow.
anybody's going to take him, but I'm glad that he's taken that step in life.
He looked at least serviceable in the bowl game
He's
the other
better.
day.
He's better.
You notice I said serviceable.
Jeff Sims or TJ Finley?
See, I was about to say Jeff Sims is like one
Pat.
ring above TJ Finley on the ladder for me.
I didn't know where, because that's usually a pretty good litmus test, right? Where Pat compares another quarterback to TJ Finley. So Pat, if this was NIL, how much would you give TJ Finley to be your quarterback, and how much would you give Jeff Sims?
Well, first off, TJ Finley would have to pay me for him to.
I
be
was
on the
about to
roster.
say, I think both of them you would want them to pay you.
Yeah, there's no money coming out of my pocket. There's none.
Jeff
Zero.
Sims or Tyler Buckner? Who would you rather have? as
Tyler
your-
Buckner is a fantastic lacrosse player.
hey, where is
he
Buck?
is.
Is Buckner still at Notre Dame?
I think they've kicked him off campus after he dropped that extra point.
Yeah,
Because if they'd have made that extra point,
they would be in the playoff.
they'd be in the playoff.
Oh, that's right.
And as the Notre Dame people reminded everyone yesterday on social media, that's what happens. Alabama against Indiana. That's what happens when you don't put Notre Dame in the college football playoff.
Oh, shut up.
Because Notre Dame would have won that game yesterday.
Mhm.
No doubt.
Now, see how embarrassing would that have been that they would have lost to their downstate rivals, Indiana.
I didn't hear many people yesterday saying Texas Tech didn't belong in the playoff, though. It's kind of interesting.
Man, that was
Didn't really hear that a lot.
Boy.
for an offense that averaged 43 points a game and you got shut out. I mean, everyone knew that Alabama had limitations offensively, but my goodness
We
gracious.
can make a field goal, Pat. Come on.
Yeah, Texas Tech couldn't even do that.
That was rough. Rough.
It's not a fun game to watch. Yeah.
Not so good.
But you knew that Lanning would have those guys dialed in. I didn't know it would be to that extent.
And Oregon honestly didn't even. I mean, they played good. But
They didn't have to play
They
great.
didn't play great.
I mean, as long as Brandon Feeney Jr., as long as he showed up, 2 interceptions, caused another turnover.
I just like when you watch Oregon, you get to hear Uwe Ungalole, but like in a positive way because his brother's actually a good player.
I mean, the Ducks were 4 of 19 on third down. Well, let's not get crazy about their offense.
Oh yeah, they weren't great, and they won by 23.
I went back and I looked at this. And this is amazing. So Oregon won their 13th game yesterday, which is it's the third 13-win season all time in Oregon history. Okay. Dan Lanning is 48-7 in Eugene, which
Right.
is incredible. So 15 years ago, Auburn defeated Oregon in the national championship game. That was January 10th, 2011. I was there. Since then, the Oregon Ducks are 142-52. That's a 732 win-loss percentage. They have 10 win seasons since they got beat by Auburn for the national championship. Auburn is 91-82 since they won the national championship. That's a 526 win-loss percentage, and they only have 2 10-win seasons since they beat Oregon in the national championship game. So Oregon
Was that appropriate to say 2 ships passing in the night?
yes.
And Oregon's had a lot of coaching changes and stuff, just like Auburn.
Who did they have? Who was the middle guy? I'm trying to remember. I know
Helfrich?
they've had. Yep, that was him.
who's now doing TV.
Yep,
That's the one everyone forgets about.
that's the guy that I forgot about.
So since winning the national championship against Oregon, Auburn has 2 10-win seasons and a 526 win-loss percentage. Oregon has 10 10-win seasons and a 732 win-loss percentage.
Yeah, but Pat, they don't play in a real comp. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, they did now.
But how many national championships do they have, Pat?
0. Not a 1.
Just the thing you can, if you're an
If-
Auburn fan, to hang your hat
Let me
on.
ask you guys this right now. If Indiana plays the way that we saw them play the rest of the way, is anybody beating Indiana?
No,
No.
no, no.
Because my wife Dorothy, her family, they're big IU people, but they were going back and forth about Oregon or Texas Tech, and it was when that game was going on a couple of days ago. And I said, honestly, honey, I don't think it matters. You've played Oregon once already. You beat them in Autzen. I don't think it matters if Indiana plays the way that they're playing.
Mendoza threw for 190 yesterday, and they won by 35. He really didn't have to do anything the second
You've
half.
got one back that goes, almost 100 yards, 15 carries. The other one does the same on 14 carries, whatever that was. Mendoza, 14 of 16. Just,
And look, we've seen it.
Business.
It's tough to beat good teams twice. It is.
it is.
But I subscribe to your. If they play at that level, nobody's touching
Do
them.
Indiana's running backs run harder than any other running backs you've seen this season?
They run tough.
Like they're mad.
Well, and the thing that impressed me a lot about Indiana is, and maybe it's just because I'm so used to Alabama players not doing this, it felt like every play, every time someone had the ball in their hands, they were dragging a defender. They were finding a way to get 2 or 3 extra yards.
Or like Mendoza on the scrambles.
Yeah, all the time.
Yep.
They found a way to get those extra dirty yards every time. They're really good at that. It's impressive, man.
He's done a heck of a job. We'll get to your phone calls, 800-239-WJOX. Max has been waiting since 2025, I think. Hey, Max.
Hey guys, I had to wake up to answer the call. Thanks for taking it.
Thanks for pulling over at the rest stop and waiting.
I'm just glad I'm traveling today. I ran out of terrestrial radio service about 30 minutes ago. So, hey, a good thing I was on the phone.
Yeah, that's
hey,
right.
I want to send my congratulations to Coach DeBoer and Coach Grubb for successfully bringing West Coast football to the Deep South.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
It's just a slightly more competitive Brian Harsin experiment. Indiana looked more like Alabama yesterday than Alabama did, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, when you start looking at it, I think there's a 45-yard difference in the Alabama offense under Nick Sheridan last year and what Grubb has brought to the table. By the way, it's worse than what it was last year from a in-game perspective, yards per game.
Well, do you not agree that if the state of college football this year wasn't as mediocre top to bottom as it is, that Alabama would have never made it into the playoffs?
I think
I think Alabama they showed they were good enough to get in the playoff, but they weren't good enough to win it.
Well, that's yeah.
I think that's just the reality.
But
of it.
didn't we say
Anyway.
that when they nobody had any designs on Alabama winning the title entering? Now you got a little bit of restored hope with what you saw in the second half, mainly of the Oklahoma game.
I mean, Alabama had the third worst odds heading into the college football playoff to win the national championship, only ahead, I should say, of James Madison and Tulane. So not a lot of people, put a little thought in the fact that Alabama was going on some magical run. I mean, that running game that was never there wasn't going to magically appear against some of the toughest competition they've faced all year.
Well, they didn't have a running game against anybody with a solid defense. And, and one-dimensional play doesn't get you a championship. So kudos to them. I'm not an Alabama fan. Kudos to them for making it as far as they did. I am an Auburn fan, and I can tell you after years of Auburn sucking wind, changing coaches, and these experiments that we've made, my advice to the Alabama community is that Coach Grubb needs to go. And if Coach DeBoer can't figure out a running game, then he needs to go, and you need to do it before it becomes a real problem. Because right now the brand is keeping them in the hunt for good players, but it's not going to take very long for the almighty dollar to supersede the brand.
Max, thank you for the phone call. We appreciate it. Happy New Year. Call anytime. I sent this to Conrad because this was from a diehard Alabama fan that's a good friend of mine, and he sent me this after the game, and I wanted to get Conrad's thoughts and get your thoughts, but it says, I've been a DeBoer fan advocate, but he may not be the guy. We've looked much less physical and aggressive than any or every other team I've watched so far. I guess he's talking about in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, let me say this. I totally support Kalen DeBoer as the head coach. I think that he's a great coach. I am happy that he is going to be the head coach at Alabama next year.
Has lack of physicality been a concern for you?
Yes, I do think, and I said it on the morning show, is there's a lot of things that need to change this offseason. A lot of people want a new offensive line coach. Think you're going to get that. A lot of people probably want a new special teams guy. Probably going to get that. You got to get better in the trenches through the portal, but at the end of the day, you have to find a way to be a more physical football team. And I don't have the answer.
And wasn't
to how you
that a
do
concern after last year? And it was this team was going to have that edge, right? Playing with that edge. And I'm not saying they didn't. I'm just voicing and asking, is this legit? Is this a lot of Alabama fans that feel this way?
One, I think a lot of the problems with the run game, for example, yeah, you had a not great offensive line at times. You didn't have a great running back. It was lack of physicality. Like, I think that was a lot. And you heard that from the coaches all year. It was, we should be able to run the football, but we're just not physical enough at the line of scrimmage to get that push and open up a hole for our running backs. And I think, again, it just all goes back to you got to find a way to be more physical. I don't know how you do that. I don't know if that's a different strength and conditioning. I don't know what all goes into that, but that has to be point 1A going into the offseason. You have to get tougher.
I asked somebody about mid-season in Tuscaloosa that was at practice every day. And I basically said, all right, so what's the deal? Is this an offensive line problem or is this a running back room problem? And they told me that it was a running back room problem, that they just did not have the Jimmies and Joes that Alabama had in the past, that the offensive line had been able to do certain things. Like you turn the tape on and the offensive line was able to do certain things in the run game, but the backs were not hitting and they weren't making the right choices in regards to where they needed to go.
I was about to say, they really struggled making cuts for some reason.
Yeah. And that's what
That
I was
is very
told.
valid.
This was back when Alabama was winning those 4 games in a row against ranked opponents. This wasn't like all of a sudden somebody started criticizing what was going on offensively. This was something that was identified early. It was just, at the end of the day, Alabama fans have become very spoiled in regards to that running back room, Landry. My God.
Well,
I mean, what they had in the past, it was
it would be all 5 stars.
amazing.
Now you got really talented guys that are there, but the wealth of talent, and we'll continue to look back and just marvel at the wealth of talent that was on some of those Alabama teams, where you have literally all 80% of your offense is all NFL.
Mm-hmm.
When I go back to what you said earlier, right? Indiana is clearly a much better team than Alabama is. There's still probably more guys that'll go to the NFL based on Alabama's roster, and I think that's what was frustrating a lot of people is how do you have all of these? You get attached to the stars, and you go, well, how do we have all this talent and it's not working out? And I think that's the frustrating part. But at the end of the day, you need to play fundamentally sound football, and that's what Indiana's really good at, and Alabama's really bad at that this year.
Ask LSU that question. The teams that just because you've got all those stars and
Clemson had a ton of talent this year, didn't work out.
You have, in retrospect, overpaid for a lot of that talent. How do they work together? Indiana's a great example of team football still wins, and you just get a bunch of guys that are going to give max effort. You got to have talent, but you get guys in the right places that are going to give max effort. That can go a long way. It still exists.
We'll continue with your calls and your text on this Reaction Friday. It's 11:23. Welcome back on this Reaction Friday. We are live until 2 o'clock. Love to hear from you. 1-800-239-WJOX. Courtesy GMC text line, 1-800-239-WJOX. We asked a poll question today, Molly. Pretty simple in regards to this Alabama football season.
Yeah, what letter grade would you give Kalen DeBoer for the 2025 season? Would you give him an A because he beat Auburn, made it to the SEC championship game and the CFP? Would you give him a B, saying it was good but not great? C, because he underachieved with the roster? Or F, because you had 3 embarrassing L's? I know how Conrad voted, but most people voted B, 47% saying good but not great. About 33% saying he got a C this year, 12% giving him an F, and only 9% giving him an A.
So you voted F? Is that what you voted?
Yes, that's right. No, I would give him based on the poll, I would go B, but I would honestly give it a B plus. And the way the season ended, again, if you lose that game by a touchdown, I think people feel a lot different about it than losing by 35. I just go back to this. If you had told me or any other Alabama fan after the Florida State game, you're going to make the playoff, you're going to play in the SEC championship, and you're going to win a playoff game, I would have said, hell yeah, sign me up for that. So
I think you did say that actually.
yeah. So again, like if that's
You said because you told us on the show, as long as they made the CFP, you
That
would
was
be
it.
happy.
Yeah.
You would be good.
So even if Oklahoma would have bounced them out, you would have been happy.
yeah, because it's progress, and I understand you're not winning national championships or playing for a national championship every year, every other year, like under Nick Saban, but college football's changed. I think you look at this year as good progress, but next year you got to make more progress. That's how it works. You got to be better next year than you were this year.
So the general feeling when we were in Atlanta was that Kalen DeBoer needed this team to get to the CFP. He got to the CFP, won a game. As a matter of fact, Alabama's won more CFP games than Georgia has the last 3 seasons. I mean, Kirby's taken a lot of heat today.
Sure he is.
A lot of heat. Because for the first time since 2018, Georgia blew a second half double-digit lead. The last time it happened was against Alabama in 2018.
Because this was the team that was notorious under Kirby Smart in the last couple of years, having the bad first half starts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and even going back to the first Ole Miss game, it was Ole Miss was better for 3 quarters, but then Kirby Smart and Georgia did their thing in the 4th quarter, and you thought maybe for a second that was going to happen again last night, but Ole Miss flipped the script and
Yeah, for Georgia fans, I feel like it would have been easier to stomach had it not been Ole Miss or a team from the SEC.
Well, it's so interesting. So before the college football playoff started, everybody was clamoring, including myself, how this thing needs to be adjusted, in which you get rid of the group of 5. This is Power 4 championship football. And then all of a sudden you have the Ohio States, Georgias, and Alabamas are knocked out of the college football playoff. And now everyone is screaming, oh, this is perfect. The college football playoff
It's worked.
It's worked because, you have Oregon has never won a national championship. Miami won one, 25 years ago. Ole Miss hasn't won one since 1963. And Indiana's never won one. So for that crowd out there, you're like going, this has worked. The CFP has created parity, and that we're going to have somebody new win a national championship this year.
That's why I thought it would be bad for Petiti in the Big Ten for how this one has played out that I mentioned earlier in the show. Because if you want those at least 4 automatic qualifiers, this year, the Miamis of the world and what you're getting, maybe not necessarily with Ole Miss, but yeah, let's take the teams, how they're ranked, how they're viewed, put them into a tournament, see what happens. It's been entertaining. I would have liked it to have been better if we would have had more SEC flavor in the semis, but
Well, it'll be interesting to watch the television ratings moving forward.
yes, it will.
Because without the big brands that would draw the television viewership, now I think the Ole Miss story is one that will garner a lot of attention. I think Indiana, obviously being, although they're the best team in America, still considered a Cinderella type story. So we'll see what the ratings look like. That could come into play in regards to what happens when they get behind closed doors and they start trying to tweak this thing again for 2026.
I do not want to see a Miami, Oregon.
No, I think we all want Ole Miss in Indiana. I think that would be a lot of fun to
Yeah.
see that.
I mean, I have the numbers somewhere on my laptop, but if I'm not mistaken, I think the Michigan Washington National Championship was one of the worst rated
Yeah.
national championship
Oh.
games in history.
That's not surprising. So, kind of a side road here. Have you heard anything? Because at the end of this month, they have to have a plan for the next year's CFP. Have you heard anything about progress?
Only
on that front?
scuttlebutt I've heard is that it's going to be the same old, same old. That it will be 12. It will not be adjusted. It will be just like it was this year, and then they will look at potentially changing it after that.
But no changes because like this year they went from
Yeah.
the conference champions just straight seat, no changes.
Based on the people that I talked to, they have given me no indication of anything. It will be status quo as it was this year.
Of course.
800-239-WJOX. Let's go to Dylan. Hey, Dylan.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what you guys have been talking about. I think first on Alabama, I think the game just put a bad taste in everyone's mouth. I mean, your offense isn't going. You scored 3 points in the game. That's just kind of where it got me, and I think a lot of Alabama fans, that's what kind of has made everybody mad on that point. The Ole Miss and Georgia side of things, Ole Miss, Trinidad Chambers, that guy was balling out. I mean, he looked great. And their running back, Lacey, if Alabama, they need to go in the portal and they need to pay a running back, find someone like that guy to come and be the running back because that guy is great.
Any word on the Texas running back who entered the portal?
Baxter, I think he's going to Kentucky.
Yeah, that
or
was
he's
the,
visiting Kentucky.
Yeah, that was the.
Okay. Well, Dylan, we appreciate it, and we'll see what happens. Some of those pieces that they add through the portal. Happy New Year, and call anytime.
All right,
Okay.
guys.
Thank you so much for the
Happy
call,
New Year.
Dylan. Before we go to break, I wanted to pass this along. Someone that Landrum and I are very familiar with, wide receiver from UAB, Iverson Hooks.
Strap.
He is someone that is going to be a wanted commodity, set all sorts of records, just an incredible wide receiver for the Blazers. He's already got some visits lined up. He's visiting Wisconsin, Indiana, Oklahoma State, LSU, Auburn, Oregon, and Louisville.
Wow.
Indiana will be an interesting one to watch, particularly.
And for that caller who was saying Alabama needs to get somebody out of the portal, right now the best running back in the portal, according to On3, is Isaac Brown from Louisville. He averaged 8.8 yards per carry this past season.
And I hear Texas is all over him.
And yes, Texas is the early front runner.
You see the theme developing here?
That
Where-
Texas has been tampering for the last month?
Do they have money or something?
Well, it's interesting because Steve Sarkisian at the press conference at the Cheez-Its Bowl basically said that nobody's adhering to the $20.5 million so-called payroll.
Yeah, no
limit.
crap, Steve.
Neither is Texas. All right, more of your calls and your texts next on Three Man Front. You know, the transfer portal opened up at midnight last night. We continue to monitor the activities at both Alabama and Auburn. So we saw a story come across, I don't know, about 30, 45 minutes ago that Sam Levitt, former quarterback at Arizona State, that he had put a do not contact tag when you go into the transfer portal, which that typically signifies that he is close to a deal or he knows exactly what he's going to do, where he's going, whatever the case may be. So keep your eye out on that. Well, the conventional wisdom has been that LSU was a team of interest for Sam Levitt. And we were just talking during one of the commercial breaks that, probably does that mean that more than likely he's going to end up down in Baton Rouge, playing for Lane Kiffin? Well, On3 is reporting just minutes ago, and this is from Pete Nakos and Steve Wiltfong, that Kentucky has entered the mix for star Arizona State quarterback Sam Levitt, which would be interesting, Landrum, because that would be almost, if he ended up in Lexington, it would be almost like a quarterback trade.
Yep. Yeah, Sam Levitt. I assume that Sam Levitt would be going to, I don't know, name another team that's still in the college football playoff. What were we thinking? Maybe Sam Levitt went to Oregon, Miami potentially, all these other places, but Kentucky, there's a lot of smoke and a lot of big names that are trending, or at least in the conversation for Kentucky football. Will Stein making a statement early if they're able to land these dudes.
I just hope Sam Levitt doesn't have to retire from football after this year, because Kentucky's last two quarterbacks decided they were going to retire from football after 1 year in Lexington. So
were they able to physically continue?
I don't know, but that would be a monster get for Kentucky. Like, that would be maybe the first time in a while that you look at their quarterback and go, okay, I'm going to have to take you seriously.
So Texas running back.
Yeah, Baxter. And then
Arizona State quarterback. What if just out of the blue,
Cam Coleman?
Cam Coleman went
to Kentucky.
Said, sorry, Mark Pope, this is really not working out. We're going to take some of that money and we're putting it back into football.
Oh.
Sorry, buddy.
So do you think Byron Brown is going to be the first big name that will come out of the portal for Auburn? You think that will be the first announced big portal get?
Big portal get? No, I don't. I think that they'll save him, or I think we'll get something maybe from the offensive line. I know that they have the tackle from Oklahoma State that apparently is the number one offensive tackle in the portal, where he is visiting, I think, right now.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. But I know that you got to replace your entire wide receiver room, your entire offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna
secondary, you're going to need a few pieces there.
Yep. You're going to need maybe another quarterback or two, just in case.
Were you surprised that Singleton went on to the NFL? I was. I thought he was going to come back.
Yeah, I was told that he would come back to Auburn, but apparently in the last however many weeks since those conversations took place, that he liked the NFL vibes that he was getting. I think he'd been really good in Alex Golish's offense. I think he would have been really good in an offense last year that was run by competent people.
I was about to say, my belief, or what I've seen.
He didn't have any trouble at Georgia Tech, just saying.
No. What I've seen is he'll probably be a day 2 pick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're a second or third round guy, I mean, you probably expected to go and play significant minutes in your first year. So, I mean,
he was a 1.8. He was right there around Cam Coleman last year.
Yeah, he was
as far as value.
He's a very talented player.
I've been getting some text messages. Some folks have been asking me, what does this mean? Am I reading anything to the fact that a lot of the Alabama players have not said anything or have gone into the portal?
Nobody wants him. I'm just kidding.
No, I don't read anything into it because, first off, there's administrative things that you have to do to officially get into the portal, and not to mention the fact that the team got back like very, very early in the morning. So,
I would also say not to put too much stock into anything anybody said, but I did think it was interesting because before New Year's, we had talked about Ryan Williams and some other guys that were asked about their future, Keelan Russell, and said, no, I'm definitely staying here. But you did have some guys, Richard Young was one of them, that the response was different from a Richard Young, Austin Mack of a, well, I'm just focused on what's here, right? Like you could tell from that sentence, it's probably a, I'm focused on the playoffs, but once the season ends, yeah, I'm leaving. But they're not going to come out and say that. So, again, don't put too much weight into anything they say. But I think some of the players very clearly made it known that they're more likely to leave than others.
Yeah, I mean, just looking back the last couple of years, forget you can throw out the window the whole Nick Saban retirement thing and everybody, I think that ended up being 35 to 37 players.
Yeah.
Oh, after he retired?
When he retired.
It was a lot.
But before that, I mean, you were having on average anywhere between 17 and low 20s
Oh, I mean, I would
at
expect
Alabama.
I would expect 20 players to enter the portal.
Yeah, I mean that's just
That should be standard for a lot of these programs for whatever reason.
I did see where Auburn, I think,
There's
was
a
like
lot of reasons.
fourth
Actually.
or fifth in the number of players.
I think
that's
they're at 27
currently in
right
the
now,
portal.
something like that.
I mean, they're not Iowa State.
No, they've got like 50 kids in the portal.
They got like 16 kids on the roster.
And shocker, their quarterback's going to Penn State. With
Yeah,
Matt
that's-
Campbell.
No,
Who would have ever
no.
guessed that? Old Rocco Beck.
No, I figured he was a lifer in Ames.
Hey, this is off the wall. Just made me think of it, thinking about quarterbacks. We had A.J. McCarron in the studio
Mhm.
last week. It was this week.
Was it this week?
This whole holidays. I mean, we don't.
It feels like a Monday, but
yeah,
it's
we
a
all
Friday.
think it's Reaction Monday.
You
but it's
couple that
actually
with a head
Reaction
cold,
Friday.
you could have told me last week. I believed it.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one here today that's not sick.
Did you know that Sacha Baron Cohen was in Polar Express?
I heard that from a guy I used to work with.
But A.J.
Oh, wait, that was he.
McCarron, he was doing a video for the Stallions, and he was taking questions. And somehow it came up about trying to get 20,000 people to a Stallions game. And so he said that if they get 20,000 to a game at Protective Stadium, that he is going to ask Mike Rapoli, who's now the owner of the league, if he would be allowed to coach on the sideline without a shirt on.
Okay.
To join the people like Damian and Chris who are in the end
Oh,
zone.
okay.
Oh,
With
I
their
thought it was
shirts
to
off.
show off the artwork.
I thought it was just random.
No, he was talking. No,
like
it
a
was,
dare.
no, he was talking about the fans that
Yeah.
I like that.
that are in the end zone with their shirt off. He says, if we can get 20,000 people to a Stallions game, I will ask the league if they would allow me to coach with my shirt off.
I like that.
I like that. Or more contests like we get on game day. With like the Dan Lanning having to throw it to hit the crossbar for charity, but we incentivize monetarily too.
Mm-hmm.
I would just warn AJ that that's a slippery slope when you start volunteering yourself for things of that nature. It can very quickly consume you.
Do people want to see him coach with his shirt off?
Stallions leading 24-17. Welcome back to Protective Stadium. If you're just joining us, there is a very good reason why A.J. McCarron is wearing a pilgrim costume.
See, and that's kind of what I was getting at. But quickly, it goes from shirtless coaching to gravy bath after the game to eating a bunch of donuts. And yeah, you just be careful, AJ. Be careful.
Yeah.
Now, if this,
Unicycles, little people.
Yeah.
if this was the original XFL, I would say absolutely. McMahon,
Yeah.
McMahon would say it.
It would be encouraged. Yeah.
That's
it.
when McMahon puts A.J. on the creative team.
I mean,
Like, I love this idea.
I don't. Again, Conrad, you're an infant, and you won't even remember this, but Landrum will.
Woo.
For the Thunderbolts of the original XFL, the Thunderbolt cheerleaders were in the stands. They weren't on the field.
It seems like that could be a problem.
We had a guy that called the show.
That they were in the stands.
He was like one of the cheerleaders that
He
called
was
him?
a guy that called the show said he was one of those 13, 12-year-olds that was there in the stands with his parents, and one of the cheerleaders ended up in his lap.
Oh, see, that's a defining moment as a young man.
That's what he said.
That's a special moment.
I don't think the mom was really thrilled.
No. I'm sure dad was like, attaboy.
But then that kind of led into, and look, if you know somebody who was on that cheerleading roster, fine. But where
I
some
did.
yeah, I'll just stop there.
I'm glad to know
They had a lot of different cheerleaders. Some of them might have come from
Oh, I got you. They're entertainers.
An entertainment background.
Yeah.
Some.
So they weren't like from like dance studios like Molly and her crew at Nebraska.
I think maybe there were a couple from a legit dance studio.
Right. A legit dance studio.
I think the others are dance clubs.
Oh, gotcha.
Performance art.
It doesn't look easy.
Gotta be acrobatic.
It takes a lot of practice, upper
Yeah.
body strength.
Mm-hmm.
Almost got him.
We will continue on this reaction
Filter.
Friday
Still there.
here on Three Man Front and Jocks. It is 11:49. More of your calls at 1-800-239-WJOX, the courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. You know, when it comes to protecting your home or business, you need a roofing company that truly abides by quality, and that's Abide Roofing. Abide Roofing offers tailored roofing solutions for every need, your family home, your commercial building, whatever you got. They deliver custom work that fits your style and your situation. In the Abide crew, they bring their A game every single day. And it's always safety first with the guys at Abide, using the latest tools, following the highest standards, keeping your property and their team protected from start to finish. And their work is built to last. No shortcuts, there's no compromises, only the best materials giving you durability, weather resistance, and long-term value. Over 25 years of trusted experience. They're also insurance claim masters. They were able to deal with my insurance company when they were being difficult in regards to my new roof replacement, but they took care of all of that. At Abide Roofing, customers always come first. Get ready? You ready to get going? Give them a call, 205-577-7338, or just go to their website, abideroof.com.
205-834-9450. First chance we've had to get into a lot of your responses on the Jocks text line. Great way for you to interact with us each and every day. First text, Scott Cochran. Need to get him back. Physicality, that's been something that has been several of our listeners this morning. This one reads, after Indiana's second drive and they went up 3-0, my phone rang. It was a friend who's an offensive line coach. He said the game was over. I told him he was crazy. He said Bama D-line has no answer for the Indiana offensive line.
Well, and I think, like a lot of people, right, you watch the start of the game, Alabama gets 2 sacks on that first drive, and you're going, man, okay, this is what you'd been looking for, and that was it. I think he had 1 sack the rest of the game.
Fool's gold.
That was it.
Posey, will we hear that Simpson was hurt heading into the game? Only say that because they didn't take any long shots. I know they were playing too high, but you still got to try, right? Question mark. We should have known when Ryan Williams made that unbelievable catch and getting hit across the middle that things were not going to go well.
Well, and I was talking with Pat about this earlier. Is it not odd? And look, the games go different ways. Who was the hero against Oklahoma? Latsier Brooks.
Yep.
No, I don't think he had a single target.
I don't think he did either.
It's just kind of bizarre.
It took a while, I mean, to get Isaiah Horton involved. You know, that's one that I'm very interested to see if he walks, if he goes elsewhere, or if he stays.
Yeah, I don't.
Horton.
It's been one of those things where when he's had a big game, you're really glad he's there, but he's had like 2 good games all year.
Yeah.
And then he's kind of disappeared.
Because obviously Brooks Brooks and Williams will be the 2 guys that they're going to
try to keep. Yeah.
But it also goes back to when we're looking at portal needs and these rosters start stacking up these guys. Only so many guys can get the football.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And that's why, I would expect if you're an Alabama fan, I would think Jalen Hale's probably gone. I would not be surprised if Rico Scott's in the portal. Like, you're going to lose some of those guys.
Yeah, Rico Scott was a name that you heard all the time in the first half of the season.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden just disappeared.
All right, so this is Joseph texting in. The bottom line is it's not about the Jimmies and Joes. It's about the X's and O's and execution. I think a good combination of both. It's not one or the other, in my opinion. I've seen really talented teams that were not well coached that were awful. Seen less than super talented teams that were well coached that did a lot of great things. I just think that the way that Indiana plays, it's a rarity now in college athletics. Well, at least in football and what we see.
Yeah, I made this comparison this morning. I know it's kind of weird because it's a football to basketball comparison, but they remind me a lot of the Spurs when you had Tim Duncan and Tony Parker, where, they had great players, right? Mendoza's a great player. But they don't have the most talent. They're just the most fundamentally sound, and they're not going to make mistakes. And that's really hard to beat. Like yesterday. You can lose by 35 pretty quickly.
Yes. Drake saying Indiana proved that 4 and 5 stars doesn't matter. It's all about development. No. But having a guy like a Mendoza, the 2 running backs that they have, I mean, their running back or their wide receiver, Cooper, that's a home product. That's a 3-star guy out of Indianapolis High School.
I was about to say, he was there when they were bad.
Yeah.
And he stuck around.
Yep. Corey says, as a Bama fan, the thing that gets me in the losses is how unprepared and soft they look.
I think that was some of the frustration yesterday. It was the closest, I guess, you've seen to a Florida State-esque performance where in the second half they just looked like they didn't want to be there anymore.
Pat and Landrum, y'all been watching football as long as me, but have seen more games where we quit, didn't show up, or whatever you want to call it. In the last 15 months, 4 times I can only remember, 5 or 6 of the previous 40 years. Notre Dame in 88, Florida in 91, or the Peyton Manning games in the 05 Iron Bowl. I think DeBoer's a good coach, but he don't fit Alabama. Thanks for the text.
Well, it goes to the question, if he does not fit Alabama, who does? Dan Lanning's not leaving Eugene. Kirby Smart's not leaving Athens.
I saw a lot of people, well, go get Kurt Signetti. He's not leaving.
He ain't leaving Bloomington. Why would he?
Where's Tommy Reese today?
Still the OC at Cleveland.